I'd like to call this meeting to order, and good afternoon and welcome to the March 28th, 2024 regular board meeting of the Sunshine Coast Regional District. I'd like to acknowledge that the Sunshine Coast Regional District is within the territory of the Seashelt and Squamish First Nations. The first order of business is to adopt our amended agenda, which we have before us. Are there any additional additions or changes that directors would like? Seeing none. May I have a motion to adopt the agenda as presented? Director McMahon, Director Toth, all in favor? Any opposed to an agenda? No. Good. The next order of business is we move to the minutes. It's Annex A, pages 3 to 9 of the regular board meeting minutes of March 14th, 2024. Directors, are there any omissions or errors that you've noticed? No? Okay, can I have a motion to adopt as presented? Yes, Director McMahon, seconded by somebody? Director Gavious, thank you. All those in favor? Any opposed? Nope. Okay, so we're now on to business arising from the minutes and unfinished business. Directors, is there any business arising or unfinished business from the minutes? Hearing none, we'll move on. We have no presentations and delegations. So we're on to reports. It's item 3, Annex B, pages 10 to 11. And it's Committee of the Whole Recommendation number 1 of March 14th, 2024. Directors, would you like to pull that? Anybody like to pull for discussion? No? Okay, motion to adopt? Yes, I see motion made, motion seconded. Any discussion? No? All those in favor? Passed. The next one is the Electoral Area Service Committee recommendations number 1 to 6 of March 21st, 2024, Annex C, pages 12 to 14. Directors, would you like to pull any of those for discussion? Not hearing or seeing any. Could I have a motion then to adopt as presented? Yes, Director Gabius, seconded. Director McMahon, any further discussion? No? Call the vote. All in favor? Any opposed? That passes. Okay, so we're moving right along here. I'm trying to keep up here. We're now on to item number 5, which is the start of our staff reports. And it's placement of notice on title, Annex D, pages 15 to 17. And I believe our Chief Building Inspector is going to introduce that to us. And so is our GM helping. Yeah, carry on.
Just by way of introduction, staff are bringing forward recommendations for placement of notice on title on 2 reports. And as you noted, Chair, we do have our Chief Building Official, Brian Kennett, here with us today if there are questions related to these files. Thank you.
I don't see anybody representing either ones in the gallery, or nobody online either, is there? No. Okay. So directors, do you have any questions? Yes, Director Stamford, please.
I didn't have a question. I was just going to move the recommendations on page 12.
I see a seconder. Any further discussion? Okay, I'll call the question. All those in favor? Any opposed? That's passed. That was pretty easy, eh? Thank you. Well-written report, that's why. Yeah. So we're on to item 6, which is the award report for MAPCON Artho acquisition contract. And I believe Manager Nelson is going to introduce this. It's Annex E, everybody, page 18. Please.
Thank you, Chair. This report requests approval to amend a contract with AeroQuest MapCon. The contract for orthophotos acquired in 2021 contained an option to acquire additional orthophotos through a 2-year term extension. So the vendor is agreeable to the extension for the acquisition of the new orthophotos in the spring of this year. And the contract cost increase of $74,913, excluding GST, was anticipated and duly incorporated into budgets already.
Thank you. Yes, Director Bax, please.
I move that the report AeroQuest MapCon orthophoto acquisition contract amendments be accepted as they appear on page 15.
Oh, you did better at that than me. Thank you.
Well, yeah, it's page 18.
It's page 18. Yes.
Are you moving the second recommendation as well? 18.
And Annex E, page 18.
I'm sorry, I have the wrong agenda in front of me. I'm
Click
seeing
on
this
the, click
report.
on the one in front of it. It's when you click on the thing, the tabs, it goes to the wrong one.
Okay. The recommendations as they appear on my agenda are page 15, but if you say it's page 18 of the amended agenda,
Yes.
I'll have to agree with you, and so I move that the recommendations on page 18 of the amended
Okay, for
agenda.
the record, it's the recommendations as listed on page 18, and it's recommendations 1 and 2 be accepted is the motion. I see it's seconded by Director McMahon. Any further discussions? Seeing none, I'll call the question. All in favor? Any opposed? That passes. Thank you very much. We got through it. We done her. Yeah. Kelly did it. I just clarified. Sorry, Director Bax. Okay, we're on to item number 7, which is an award report for the GACC refrigeration system reconstruction phase 1 chiller replacement award report. And who's going to present that for us? Online? Oh, there we go. Oh, thank you. I missed that. Yes, Manager Van Velselen. Please
Thank
go
you,
ahead.
Chair. The ammonia brine chiller at the Gibsons Area Community Center is reaching the end of its expected service life and is due for replacement. Due to the lead time for the replacement chiller and project timeline constraints to complete the project prior to the start of the 2024-2025 ice season, a pre-order of the chiller was recommended by the project design consultant. The pre-order process was initiated by the project consultant issuing the chiller specifications to Alpha Laval Canada to receive an estimated cost and production timeline. This was followed by staff posting a notice of intent to direct award the supply of the replacement chiller to Alpha Laval Canada. Further to this, a report was brought before the board on February 8th, seeking approval to proceed with issuing a letter of intent for the pre-order. Upon approval of the board, the letter of intent was issued to Alpha Laval Canada, which allowed our chiller order to be put into their production queue. Request for proposal for refrigeration system reconstruction chiller replacement was published on February 16th and closed on March 18th. The report brought before you today outlines the results of the RFP. Staff are seeking the board's approval to proceed with the contract award to Fraser Valley Refrigeration. I'm happy to answer any questions you might have.
Thank you very much. Is there any questions, directors? Seeing none, can I have a motion?
Just a question.
Yes.
Thanks. Thanks, Chair. I was just trying to make sure I didn't Push the button.
Yeah, I'm just trying to make sure I didn't see it. I've asked this before, is this the predicted end of life for this particular piece of equipment? I don't know if we have statistics on that, although we have the Seashells Arena as an example, an older facility. But we do have some knowledge on staff as to the life expectancies of particular equipment. And is this the predicted life of this particular piece of equipment? If it's yes, I guess then we have to replace it again in 15 years probably, but just the question through you, Chair. Thank you.
Was the question, did the original one fail at its end of life in 15 years, and is this one expected to do the same? Did I get that right?
Yeah, is this the expected lifespan of the chiller? And if in fact it is that obviously means that in 15 years we'll have to replace it again.
Ah,
Yeah.
good question.
Thank
Manager?
you for the question. Yes, this is the expected life for a shell and tube chiller, which is the current type of chiller that we have. However, we are replacing it with a plate and frame chiller. One of the advantages to plate and frame chillers is that they can actually be disassembled and serviced and put back together. So that does extend the life expectancy. There is about a 10-year kind of cycle for doing that rebuild maintenance on the plate and frame chillers.
Okay.
Well, that's a good business to be in.
Yeah, but it means that the new one will have an extended life.
Okay.
Is that, yeah. Because
It can be
That's-
rebuilt, so this is a good choice.
Yeah.
Okay. We don't have a motion on the floor yet, do we?
You do.
We do? We have an approved motion? Okay, thank you. Any further questions? Seeing none?
Do we have a motion on the floor?
Sorry, I'll just ask.
I'll move it then.
Okay,
What page is it on again?
it's Annex F, page 19. Director Toss moves acceptance of the recommendation. Director Gabius seconds that. Okay, any further discussion? None? Call the question. All those in favor? Any opposed? No, done. Thank you. Wasn't just me last year. Okay. We're on to item number 8 now, which is Annex G, pages 21 to 23. And it's a request for exemption from SCRD noise control bylaw number 597 for Alberg Productions equipment. And Alberg Productions, yes. Deputy Corporate Officer, our Corporate Officer is going to introduce this for us. Please.
Thank you, Chair. So we have been contacted once again by Alberg Productions, and they've been very good at informing us when they need these exemptions from our noise bylaw. So in the staff recommendation on the report, you'll note in recommendation number 2 a listing of the anticipated times and locations where they are requesting that we waive enforcement of our noise bylaw.
Thank you. So we're on, okay, directors. Oh, yes, Director Bax.
I would like to move the recommendations as they appear on page 21.
Thank you. Do we have a seconder? Yes. Director Stamford, any further discussions? Hearing none, I'll call the question. All those in favor? Any opposed? That passes. Thank you. We're now on item number 9, which is Catherine Lake Park Access Road Emergency Remediation and Upgrades. It's Annex H, page 24 to 25, and there is an amended report. So Manager Huntington, please.
This staff report presents options for consideration for the emergency remediation and upgrade to Catherine Lake Park Access Road. Good afternoon. This report presents options for consideration for the emergency remediation and upgrade to Catherine Lake Park Access Road. Even though this project was not anticipated, it does present an opportunity for SCRD Parks to build climate resiliency and contemporary environmental and engineering standards into our infrastructure. Catherine Lake Park is a regionally significant destination park enjoyed by locals and visitors for freshwater beach access and camping. The staff recommended option is intended to have the least impact upon service levels, contracted services, and public enjoyment of this destination park and campground. Thanks, and I am very happy to answer any questions you may have.
Thank you. Directors, do you have any questions? Yes. Director McMahon, please.
Yes, it appears the estimate has increased. We're in an era of rapid inflation, but that's a lot for a week. Was there a new quote, or why did we get an increased budget?
Yes.
Thank you for the question. As the project has evolved and we're learning more about the significance of the creek that this access road crosses over, as well as the hydrological implications of Catherine Lake being the catchment area feeding into this creek, the scope of the project, the complexity of the project has increased, and we've had to involve a greater number of professionals in order to meet current day environmental and engineering standards to complete this project. Thank you.
Yes, the creek ends up down in Saginaw with the endangered sockeye, so it's a pretty sensitive area. Director McMahon, follow-up?
I have commented before that I'm perfectly happy for these destination parks that are used by people right across the coast. I think it's appropriate for all of the electoral areas to contribute to the repair costs. So I personally am happy to contribute from Area East, not anymore the gas tax funds.
Any other directors want to comment? No? Would you like to move the recommendations then on page 24?
Right,
Oh, sorry. Hang on.
that's-
Director
that's
Stanford would
the-
like to comment first.
right. There's actually no page number on the revised, the amended agenda, so.
Oh, well, I guess we can go by Annex H then. Yes. Director Stanford, please.
I just want a clarification under the recommendations. Recommendation 2 is the contribution is $50,000 each from A, B, D, and E. But then further down, it does include, oh, it's a different one. Okay. The implications are different. Okay. I do get it now. Thank you. No questions.
Yes, I think you were looking at the amounts that we all had left as
Yeah.
opposed to where the funding source was coming from, just for clarification. Did someone make that? Oh, yes. Director McMahon?
Yes, I'm happy to support staff's recommendations in Annex H.
Of the amended agenda. Seconded Director Gabius, and any further discussion? No? Seeing no hands, I'll call the question. All those in favor? Any opposed? That passes. Thank you very much. I really appreciate that spirit of cooperation. I think we did the right thing here. Okay, thank you. Thank you, GM and manager. Well done. We have no communications. We have no motions. But we have a bylaw. And I got to get back to the other agenda.
Corporate officer.
And corporate officer, you introduce this for us?
Thank you, Chair. So at the December 14th regular board meeting, the board directed staff to proceed with an elector approval process to seek approval for long-term borrowing to fund the apparatus replacement project, i.e. fire truck, for the Gibsons and District Fire Protection Service. So this is the first step in that process. The bylaw is before you for consideration of 3 readings. Should the board choose to read that bylaw today, it will be forwarded to the province for approval to proceed with our alternative approval process, and I will be bringing forward a subsequent report that will lay out the timelines and the information package that will accompany that.
Thank you very much. Any questions? Yes, Director McMahon?
Just a comment that I think we better get moving on this ASAP, seeing as how every time I see an estimate on this fire truck, it gets more expensive. So, yeah, let's get her done.
Well, we need to do this Annex A thing first. Okay, so the first step then would be a motion to accept the recommendations on Annex A, page 28. So could I see a motion to that effect? Yes. Director McMahon and Director Bax, any further discussion?
I think it has to be Director Stanford. Doesn't it have to be someone who's in the fire service or not? Sorry.
Oh, let me see. Who's voting? All directors are voting because it's a financial matter. Yes.
Correct, because we're at board, we're not at committee.
Okay. So we're good. Thank you. Good that we got it right, though. Okay. I see no hands up for discussion, so I'll call the question. All those in favor? Any opposed? No opposed? That passes. So we now will move on to the reading of the bylaw, which follows the report. So it starts on page 30. So I'm going to call for first, second, and third reading of Gibson's West House Sound Fire Protection Service Pumper Apparatus Replacement Project Loan Authorization Bylaw Number 765, 2024. Moved by Director McMahon, seconded by Director Stamford. Any questions, comments? No? Call the question. All those in favor? Any opposed? None opposed? That passes. Thank you. That's done. Now we're into everybody's favorite, which is the director's reports. And I'm going to go back to my usual this time and start from my right. So Director Bax, please.
Thank you. So it was I'm going to say a fairly uneventful month. We do have upcoming, I have Earth Day, April 21st at the Roberts Creek, on Roberts Creek Road at the Mandela. There's going to be one of the larger spring gatherings on the Sunshine Coast. And I believe the SCRD is going to have a presence there in some way or form. The Community Association puts this together, and it's so that's Sunday, the 21st of April, starting at noon. There'll be bands playing. There'll be kiosks, all Earth Day related. I won't be available at that point, and I have appointed Justine Gabias to go in my stead. There are questions about what the regional district is doing for water that I know that she can answer in a very informed manner, and there'll be. Yeah, and so I would recommend everybody get out to Earth Day. It's going to be a wonderful time. I did attend the APC orientation here, and I thought that was wonderful. I thought staff did a bang-up job of showing our APCs how they could go about their work. And I've recently had some inquiries about how the APCs are going to be referred to when it comes to our OCP review, and so we're all looking forward to that. I did make a trip into Vancouver last week, and I spent some time with the former Seychelles Nation councillor Shane Jackson at his studio in North Vancouver, and I found that was really, really interesting. It was really nice to touch base with Shane again, and you'll be seeing a bit of him up here. He has some business on the Sunshine Coast in the coming months. And besides that, get out to Earth Day. Thanks.
Yeah, thank you very much. They do some painting on that thing, don't they? The Mandela thing?
Oh, if you're talking about the Mandela painting happens in it's usually in August,
Oh,
and it's another part of Roberts Creek history, and it's such a well-loved place. I mean, the Tourism Bureau uses it as their front page, and it changes every year thanks to the artist Rob Marion who oversees this. And we've got new, we have new bollards in place to protect the Mandela from anybody wanting to drive on it, and the fire department has keys so that they may access that area. So there's the bollards, then the Mandela, and then there's a gate with the sunset motif on it.
thank you. It's good to see that's all fixed up.
Yeah, it looks really nice. I took a walk down there with the local representative for Moti and discussed how the parking lot is not exactly where it should be for such a high-profile place on the Sunshine Coast, and I'm hoping that at some point Moti will work with our parks infrastructure folks and try to solve the issues of drainage within the parking area down there. It really needs to be addressed.
Let's hope we still have the issue in August, eh? It'd be nice.
That'd be nice, but if rain comes before Earth Day, there'll be some complaints.
Thank you. Thank you. Director Inkster.
Yeah, thanks. I'll be quick. District of Sechelt approved 3 more years of the Rod Run and Show and Shine, which is not the approval we necessarily gave, but the Rod Run, Show and Shine use of Hackett Park. So we know it's going to be in Sechelt 3 more years at least. Everyone come to Sechelt on that weekend. I'm inviting you all. Yeah, thank you.
I really like the Rod Run. It's an awesome, great cars. People sure put a lot of money into those. Yes. Director McMahon.
Yes. My turn. Okay, fair enough. On March the 18th, I participated in a Zoom call with our UBCM electoral area representative Geraldine Kirk, and the guest was Rolly Russell, Parliamentary Secretary for Rural Development, but of course, since he is a former electoral area director, he ended up answering a bunch of questions about what should I do about my electoral area's problem with Moti, even though not his area. It's interesting to hear from other folks across the province, and it reminds me how fortunate we are here because one fellow who is on there from the Peace River area, his constituency is still on fire. It has been on fire since last summer, and they are really worried about what happens when the snow melts. So, yeah, there were also a lot of questions about agricultural water use because, of course, the drought in the northeast portion of this province is severe. On March 22nd and 23rd, I attended the High Ground Conference along with Director Gavious. We did not go to all the same events, so I think it's safe for me to report that I attended Reimagining Advisory Committees, public hearings, and OCP consultations with the SFU Center for Dialogue. These are the folks who set up the Citizen Assembly for Gibsons. There are 3 of them in the province. These are pilot projects to try and get meaningful involvement with citizens who aren't usually heard in public processes. And so it will be interesting to see how that works out. It's somewhat challenging because most of the folks who are on this Citizens Assembly are not at all familiar with local government, so they're starting from zero. And there is quite a bit of education involved in trying to move the conversation forward. I also attended Preparing for Extreme Heat, which once again was focused on municipalities and really didn't have a whole bunch to offer us, unfortunately. And I enjoyed the fireside chat with Ministers Bowen Ma and George Heyman. The fireside was provided on video, with the fireplace. And I did buttonhole Minister Heyman about our siphon, but we should follow up with him, I think. I particularly enjoyed meeting the planning students from UBC. There were a bunch of students at this conference, and it was really interesting talking to them. On March 23rd, while I was away at the conference, the Elphinstone cleanup took place, and there were a ton of volunteers. And they were picking up all over Elphinstone. They did a fabulous job. I'm not sure how many tons they got, but we'll likely find out. On March 24th, I attended the Farmers Institute AGM at the ever-beautiful Grounded Acres Farm. March 25th, I was on the Housing Action Table call, and there was an update on a lot of the housing projects going on in the Sunshine Coast. If anybody wants notes from that meeting, I will be happy to forward them. And just as a final note, I am getting a lot of burning concerns, smoke complaints this spring. And yeah, it is broader discussion I think we need to have with the community. So that's it from me.
Smoke. Yes. Well, it cuts down on our green waste. Yeah. Director Toth, please.
Thank you, Chair. I didn't think I was going to have much to report, and then I started making notes, and apparently I got a bunch to report, so here we go. I'm sitting as part of a permissive tax exemption review committee. It's something the District of Sechelt is looking at doing. We met last Thursday. We're meeting again later today, and that's looking at whether we want to make any changes to our policies around the permissive tax exemptions that we do issue, because we give out about $600,000 a year in permissive tax exemptions that have to be picked up by the rest of the tax base. Councillor Rowe and I, along with our Director of Planning, attended a debate on Tuesday night hosted by Urbanarium at UBC Robson Square. The topic of the debate was if the BC Building Code has gone too far, which was really interesting, talking about primarily life safety, whether we should be relying more on professionals, and whether the code should be more prescriptive or more objective based. It was a fascinating discussion, and the next topic that they're going to be doing is going to be geared around engagement with local community groups like neighborhood associations and things like that. So yeah, it'll be an interesting time. Councillor Rowe has decided that we're doing a local government Jeopardy or planning Jeopardy with a council team that's to be pitted against a couple teams formed from members of the community associations. So that'll be interesting, and I don't think Director Inkster knows yet that he's on the team. Surprise. And the final thing I want to report is that, I've been really low bandwidth the last week or so because I'm madly finishing planning for my big annual scouting event out at UBC. So that's out at Pacific Spirit Park. We get about 1,200 people out each year, and they spend all night hiking through the park and doing challenges. And yeah, it's a ton of fun. And it's been running for 52 years now, except for 2 years during COVID. And our attendance is way up since we came back after COVID. So people were looking for things to do. And yeah, a ton of fun. So that's it for me. Thanks.
What age group is that?
We get it. It's intended for scouts, venturers, pathfinders. So it's intended for sort of ages 12 to 17-ish. We'll get groups that come with like beaver-aged kids, which are going to be like 5 and 6 years old. And so they'll usually do like 1 or 2 activity stations and have a hot dog and then go home by, 9 o'clock. But we'll get groups that'll run, our cutoff time, everybody has to be checked out by 6:30 Sunday morning. And we'll get groups that are rushing to finish by 6:30 Sunday morning. But then we'll also get groups that have run through and finished everything by 2 o'clock in the morning, because they move that fast through the park. So it's incredible seeing the energy out of some of these groups.
Yeah, young people have a lot of energy, I've noticed. Wish I had some of that. We'll go the other way now. Director Stanford.
Thank you, Chair. I represented the Sunshine Coast Regional District Board at the Capilano University Annual Government Luncheon on Tuesday. It was, I've never been to that campus. It's a lovely campus, way far away on the bus. I was there with Mayor Henderson. Also, we had Minister Ma and Minister Farnsworth from the provincial government attending, as well as several representatives from the MP offices in the North Shore area. And it was just to get electeds together with the student union, and they provided a beautiful lunch and an opportunity to network. So it was well worth the travel in. Did it on the bus. I highly recommend it. Also, Monday evening was my first Area F community check-in on Zoom, and it went very well. The primary topic was about the planned storage of sodium hypochlorite, which I know far more about than I did a week ago. And that is what is used to make water safe, and that is a planned installment at the Church Road well pump house. I guess the neighbors were not aware that this would be happening as an initiative for operations in that area. So there has been some concerns, and I really appreciate that staff have stepped up very quickly to provide an information package, as well as an opportunity for a Zoom meeting tonight for neighbors to ask questions of staff about exactly what is happening in the Church Road area. And I really want to acknowledge that Church Road has, the whole area, Grantham's, Elphinstone Avenue, has a myriad of challenges. And we recognize that it isn't easy given the geographical nature of that area. It is so steep, there's just not a lot of land available to do anything. But they are dealing with ongoing drainage issues. The construction of the well house was more than I think neighbors bargained for and understood was going to happen. There's been long-term impacts. We've got light pollution from the new lights that were installed for security. And there's also ongoing parking issues around the little Grantham's Hall, the recreational center there. So I think this is just part of our job to be a sounding board and have neighborhoods' concerns heard. And I know there's no easy fix for the Grantham's Elphinstone Avenue area, but I'm going to keep working on it to try and get to the bottom of their issues. So this was just one of them. But thanks again to staff for stepping up as quickly as they have. Thank you.
Yes. Fairly active community there around Church Road. Director Gavious, please.
Thank you, Chair. Spring has sprung. My greenhouse overfloweth. Too many seedlings, as per usual. If you would like to start a butterfly garden, I'll have a lot of plants to give away. Seeds of March happened earlier this month, and I had a really great time at the Half Moon Bay Nursery in Half Moon Bay, talking with our Fire Smart representative was there, so that was great. We talked about Fire Smart landscaping, so if anyone is thinking of planting some stuff this spring, please have a look at the Fire Smart website, because they have a really good guide for good plants to plant if you want to have a Fire Smart property. Also went with with Director McMahon to the High Ground conference in Vancouver. and that was fantastic. I had a really great time. We did some awesome networking, met some great people, and some awesome topics, some that are close to my heart: climate action, youth engagement, and Indigenous relations. And a wonderful panel on youth engagement. I have lots of notes. It really inspired me. And one thing that came out is that youth want to be mentored, but they don't want to walk behind you. They want to walk alongside you. So how to engage youth is very much, take their hand and walk next to them, not in front of them. Went to the Farmers Institute AGM online. Unfortunately, I did not get to enjoy the beautiful Grounded Acres farm. I saw it through my screen. And so we learned about the challenges and opportunities that lie ahead for farmers, and that was very interesting. And of course, we're working with them to try and support them as much as we can. Went to the library board meeting yesterday. The library is still closed. Their location in City Hall is still closed, but their pop-up at Trail Bay Mall is still going for another few months. And the response from the public has been overwhelmingly positive. People are even asking them to stay there forever because it's so popular. And they're doing really, really awesome work. Kudos to them. I'm really impressed with everything that they've been able to accomplish. Attended the seasonal hazard update Zoom call yesterday with Ministers Ma and Kang, and there were no good news, I don't think, in the whole thing, but it's great that those calls are happening to keep us all informed. I really appreciate those. And I had APC meeting this week, election of chair and vice chair. So congratulations to both Nicole and Kim. And a great meeting, great discussion. I'm looking forward to more meetings with them. And I will be starting a regular coffee shop at Cooper's Green every last Saturday of the month, starting in April, and invite all my residents to come and have coffee and chat. And I am looking forward to going to AVIC. That is in a couple weeks. And just so you know, there's a podcast by counselors, Director Toth and Counselor Rowe, called Locally Speaking. And we will have, we'll be set up in one of the rooms to interview people. So please come by. We'll try and bait you with candy or I don't know what, but please come and answer some of our burning questions and talk about the issues in your areas. Oh yeah, and bring them to us. Bring people that you find interesting to us, and we'll interview them.
Thank you, Director Gavious. I do believe she's a production, isn't she? Director Lumley.
Yeah, not too much to report really. I'm in my living room instead of there with you because I had my hip replaced 3 weeks ago. So I'm not able to drive. I guess I could have took a handy dart up there, right? But I didn't plan that out properly. Yeah, no, the only other thing, I mean, obviously I'm over 2 months into getting a building permit in the town of Gibson's. The amount of red tape's really starting to frustrate me. And when I hearken, if there's anything I could impress upon even the town, which I am obviously part of and speaking to them, or the regional district or staff or anybody, but my going back to maybe what Director Gabius was saying about youth and stuff, it'd be horrific if somebody younger, a lot younger than me, that maybe hasn't been around the block, coming up with a great idea, but got stymied by their local government because there is so much red tape. So I don't know if there's a way that local government can come up with more of a streamlined, maybe assistance process for in that respect. I think it would be a good idea. But that's it, pretty much recovering. So
We are of that age. Yeah, well, some of us. The good news is the regional district's got 2 projects doing it, PEP 1 and PEP 2, and we're going to have the bestest process shortly. Yes. I guess it's, I didn't get a whole lot of time to prepare here because I was traveling, so I'm going to tell you about the 2 events I attended in Victoria. The first one was the CAO and Chair event, and it actually was, it was an excellent event. And our very own CAO, Mr. McKinley, was part of the organization of it, did a great job. Some things, I didn't bring my notes with me, I forgot them at home. I have pages of notes, but some things that stuck on my mind I will just mention. Tara Faganello, who's the Assistant Deputy Minister, talked to us on behalf of the Honourable Ann Kang, who's Minister of Municipal Affairs. She did a good job, except she was kind of mentioning about how the regional district got an extra big chunk of that last grant. But I was kind and I didn't, I didn't speak up. I did laugh a little bit, though. I think everybody's aware of that one. But our CAO and our CFO are actually working with the provincial government to get a better funding formula that's more equal for everybody in that situation. And so they are working on it and they are making progress. Dean was, Mr. McKinley, our CAO, was quite positive about it. Dean presented the culture of conduct, and it's quite a big deal through all levels of government, both municipal and regional. The conduct of the people attending the meetings and writing about us in the social media has deteriorated quite badly, and all of the chairs are concerned about it. They're all seeing it. They stress the fact we need a code of conduct, and we need it to explain it to the people that are coming in to talk to us as well. I'm personally hoping we don't get to where we are like the senior levels of government where they won't let the public into the room. I'd like to see the public face to face. Hopefully we can continue to do that. But there is an alternative, and that is you just bring them in one at a time when you present and everybody else watches on TV or on Zoom. Let's hope we don't have to go there. But it was interesting to talk about it. And on day 2, there's something we can all look. Again, our CAO presented, and he demonstrated something, who you're going to call. And it's actually on our website. You can go on our website and put in your address and find out who you need to call for any service, not just the RD, but for Modi or for Capilano or forever. And I liked his original name of Who You Mad At, but I guess he wasn't allowed to use that. So then we also got a presentation from Brian Goodlum, anyways, the Fire Commissioner, Office of the Fire Commissioner. There's a new Fire Safety Act that's getting close to being ready, and it talks about who does the inspections of the commercial businesses when you have to do them. They'll come over and help us if we don't want to do them, which is nice. And that was it for that one. And then I went to the MFA, which was the second half of it, the Municipal Finance Authority. And it was very interesting. They had a great breakfast. But one of the things I really enjoyed on that, again, was the Canadian political landscape. They had a presentation, and Vaughn Palmer, who's the political journalist, and Keith Baldry, who's a political journalist as well, but one's print and one's video. And it actually was a question and answer period, and it was great. And they were talking about which government is most likely going to get elected here shortly in October, and the challenges each one presented. And they were very, I was going to say opinionated, but that isn't true, but open in their comments as they observed what's happening in the legislature. They were suggesting it's going to be a little more of a contest than most of us think, which was a surprise. I guess we'll see as we get closer. So the other thing, I did attend the Minister Kang's update, but there was one bit of good news that she announced while I was there, and that is they're going to involve the local first responders in the firefighting efforts, if they've taken the course and if they'll work with the province under the province's command. But there was 350 positions open for training to make that happen. And that was a good news. And that's to take care of what happened in the interior when they weren't allowing first responders to participate in the effort. They listened. And I was wondering, can we come to your Zoom meeting on Church Road?
I think that would be a great idea. So to find out more information, go to the Let's Talk website under Church Road, and the background information, as well as the link to the Teams meeting from 6 to 7 tonight. Well, that's where you'll find it. And I need to get home so that I can be there.
Thank you very much. What time is that again?
6 to 7.
6 to 7.
Oh, good time. I can make that. Thank you. Thank you, directors. I must say they were awful good reports in very short notice. So thank you. Yeah. Yours was okay too. Yeah. Okay. We have no new business. So I need a motion to go in camera that the public be excluded from attendance at the meeting in accordance with section 90, 1A, L and K of L1A, I, and K of the community charter. So yes, Director Toss, Director Inkster, all in favor? Okay. There's no one online, no one in the audience? Yes. So you'd like to introduce a 5-minute recess?
In the open
Yeah.
We just need a countdown.
Where are we now? Oh, we're,
Adjourn.
what the heck is the meeting all about? What's the date? Oh, here we go. Bryce, could we have a countdown to go back live in our regular scheduled meeting?
You are live now, Chair.
Thank you very much. Welcome back to our regular board meeting of March 28th, 2024. Our last item of business would be adjournment. Can I have a motion to adjourn, please? Seconded. All in favor? Thank you. I don't believe we have nobody in the gallery here and nobody in the virtual. Okay, thank you, everybody. We're done.